Hello and welcome to Mainly Facts. If you missed any of our videos, this collection is perfect for you. Without further ado, here's the video. Am I the a-hole for borrowing my husband's underwear? So I, 28 female, am about 7 to 8 months pregnant, and while I've thankfully not gained a lot of weight, my belly has grown a lot, and I find that most of my underwear is too small and cuts into my side/bottom of my belly. After a while, I started getting a rash in the places where it was too tight due to friction, I guess. So one day I was getting dressed and I was getting frustrated about the rash and the underwear being too small, so I figured I'd try on a pair of my husband, 29 males, boxers. They're size L and too big for me, but oh my god, it was the most comfortable thing I've ever tried on in my life. Breezy and loose, and even the places where I had the rash didn't hurt. My husband had already left for work for the day, so I decided to just borrow them. At the end of the day, we both come home and I tell him that I borrowed his underwear and asked if it was okay to continue borrowing some until the baby comes, less than 2 months left, or at least until the rash is better. He seemed a bit weirded out, but said it was okay. Fast forward a few days and we're going to bed and he flips out at me and asks me why I'm wearing his good bamboo underwear. I'm confused, but he points at the band where it says bamboo. Then he goes on a long rant about how his few pairs of bamboo underwear are the comfiest and best quality, etc., etc. I swear this is not an ad for bamboo underwear. I apologized and said I just picked the pair off the top, just like I did the other times, but he was upset and said I wasn't allowed to borrow his underwear anymore. I said I wouldn't borrow the ones that said bamboo on them since it bothered him, but he just drew a hard line saying I should go buy bigger underwear for myself and stop stealing his. Now I'm thinking this is probably more about how he actually doesn't want me to borrow his underwear and he's using me accidentally taking the wrong pair as an excuse, but I'm not sure. So anyway, am I the a-hole for thinking my husband should let me borrow his underwear, or am I just entitled? Well, I mean, to be fair, the pregnancy's probably been so hard on your husband's body and everything that, he needs those special underwear to help him with the pregnancy. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong for people to have boundaries. People, even in a marriage, you don't always have to share every little thing, like toothbrushes. I swear to God, people don't share toothbrushes. I can't handle that. I feel like, and yeah, it's a private undergarment, it's the secret undergarment that the world's not allowed to see. So I can see someone being a bit uncomfortable with that, but it's the fact that he said okay to it at first and then just kind of flipped out and, oh my God, chill out. It's just underwear, my dude. I don't know, it's for a couple months. She's carrying your child and her body is having to deal with all kinds of stuff. Can you just let her wear the underwear? So, I don't think that she's an a-hole for wanting to be comfortable and not have to go out and buy new underwear that she's only going to have for a couple months. But, I don't know. Everyone's allowed their own lines and stuff, so if he's not comfortable, he's not comfortable, but it seems like a silly thing to get worked up about, but to each their own. Today I effed up by agreeing to be my best friend's girlfriend. Before I start, I want to say that English is not my first language, so I'm sorry if there are any mistakes. I, 15 female, and my best friend, 13 female, have been friends for almost a year. We met each other online and we tell each other everything. She is a lesbian and I'm bisexual. Today she confessed to me that she has a crush on me and asked me to be her girlfriend. I said yes because I didn't want to hurt her feelings because I know she's afraid of rejection. Honestly, don't have feelings for her, and I only like her as a friend, and her friendship means the world to me, but I don't want a relationship. She also told all of her friends in real life and her parents that I'm her girlfriend now, and they congratulated her. Her parents even want to visit my country now since we're dating. I know sounds like a terrible person, and you guys would hate me for what I did. I want to break up with her and be honest with her, but I don't want to hurt her feelings since I want us to continue being friends. Do you guys have any advice? Too long didn't read. I agree to be my best friend's girlfriend, but I don't have feelings for her and I want to break up with her without hurting her feelings. In a lot of cases, especially unfortunately in that teenage, early 20s years, it's very hard to break up with someone without hurting their feelings. Especially if you agreed to go out with them because you didn't want to hurt their feelings, because you've started the relationship on a lie. I don't think there's a way that this goes cleanly. Like, she may forgive you, you may be able to still be friends, but you just have to be honest. Because let me tell you, be it a relationship or friendship, good relationships are built on honesty and communication, and you just have to be honest with folks. And yeah, you agreed to go out with her because you didn't want to hurt her feelings by rejecting her, but now you have to hurt her feelings worse by, by having her gotten her hopes up and attached and breaking that off. So yeah, there's not a good way out of this stuff, folks. You just gotta be honest. And I mean, who knows? Maybe you could try exploring to see if there is a relationship possibility there, but it sounds like you already have figured that out in your head, that she's not someone you're interested in like that. So just gotta be honest. It's gonna suck. I'm sorry. It is almost certainly gonna suck. But be honest now. The longer you wait, the more it will suck. Cousin's gift ruined Christmas and possibly my relationship. I come from a big family. Our holidays involve extended family like second cousins, etc. My fiance and I are in our mid-20s, and there are a lot of cousins in their 20s and 30s. Last night we had our big Christmas party. It was fun to see everyone until it was time to exchange presents. My cousin Anna, not her real name, hands out pink envelopes to all the 20s and 30s men who have married/dated into the family. My fiance received one and quickly put it in his pocket after opening it. I was distracted opening my gifts and didn't ask to look at it. About 20 minutes later, my cousin Rachel, again not her real name, pulls me aside and says Anna is giving out cards with instructions on how to get a discount subscription to her OnlyFans. Rachel's boyfriend got one of the pink cards and showed Rachel because he was weirded out. I'm peeved at this point because I suspect my fiance's card also has an OnlyFans discount, so I asked to talk with him, and he denies getting a card from Anna. I tell him, I saw her hand you one and I watched you put it in your pocket. I go to grab his pocket and he suddenly remembers getting a card but claims he didn't open it. I take it from him and of course it's already opened and of course it's about effing OnlyFans. I go back inside to confront Anna and find her already arguing with a different cousin who's upset because her husband has already tried looking at Anna's page. Anna claims she's just trying to get her business off the ground and no one appreciates all the hard work and skills it takes to be successful in a digital career. She says her gift, it's not sexual, it's just marketing. Some of the older relatives, aunts and uncles, are starting to take sides too, but they're mostly really confused about what's going on. Anna's mom starts crying because of something I said, and my mom tries to get me to apologize, which pees me off more. At this point, I leave with my brother and his husband because I don't want to spend the night with my fiance at home, and I don't feel like going with my parents when my mom is pressuring me to apologize. Oh, and surprise, surprise, Anna didn't give my brother's husband a card, so make of that what you will about the intent behind her gift. I'm seriously considering calling off the engagement over this, and I'm peed at my cousin for ruining both Christmas and my relationship. So folks who know me know that I'm very, very supportive of any kind of intimate workers online. I myself have done a number of erotica audiobooks. That's kind of how I got started doing voice work. I'm super supportive of that stuff, and I am supportive of people who have more open ideas about intimacy in and adjacent to their relationship. I personally tend to skew more traditional myself. I don't know, like I do, because everyone has their own boundaries and lines, so that's fine. Handing out OnlyFans discount codes to the fiancés and husbands of your relatives is not a good look anywhere. I cannot imagine a situation where that's okay. I have a very open mind, and my immediate reaction is no, not cool at all. Bad move. Bad move on your fiance's part, denying it, because that means that he saw that it was just like, ooh, a secret dirty treat for me. and tried to keep it from you. Clearly, like twice had the opportunity to come clean about that stuff. Like, oh, I don't remember. Oh, yeah, I guess she did, but I didn't open it. And then oh my God. So yeah, no, I mean, even though I do think that looking at adult entertainment and stuff, if you're in a relationship, isn't necessarily a bad thing if partners are okay with that stuff. This situation is pretty bad, and I don't blame you for considering ending that engagement. At the very least, some conversations need to happen. Am I the a-hole for calling my sister-in-law a racist after she compared my cooking to Kung Pao chicken? For context, I've been married to my wife for about 10 years, and we're a mixed-raced couple. I'm Asian and she's Caucasian. I've gotten along with her family, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, but I've always felt like her father-in-law and other sister-in-law, Sarah, never liked me. I'm a professionally trained chef with 15 plus years of experience, and I work at a high-end Chinese restaurant, a spin-off of a popular one in Beijing, in a large U.S. city. My crew and I have won several awards, and I've been explicitly told I'll be the next executive chef. Sarah is also a professionally trained chef and works at a popular upscale French restaurant in the city. She constantly brags about it and, no joke, compares herself out loud to Ramsay and Bourdain. Whenever I'm at my mother-in-law and father-in-law's house and helping out in the kitchen, Sarah is always criticizing everything I do. Whether it's chopping, braising, marinating, etc. She always butts in with comments like, I think you should actually do X like this. I've been patient with my wife and sidestepping those comments, saying things like, thanks, but I think I'll stick to the way I do it. Things came to a head 2 weeks ago when my wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and I were in her parents' kitchen preparing dinner for my mother-in-law's birthday. We were running a bit behind, so things were heated, which I kind of liked because it reminded me of work. And that's when Sarah walked in. She took one look at what I was doing, scoffed, and said something like, oh wow, okay, so that's not right the way of doing things. It hit a nerve, and I pretty sternly told her to stop criticizing my cooking and that I'm also a chef like her. She laughed and said, making Kung Pao chicken at some Chinese restaurant doesn't count. The kitchen went silent. Father-in-law snorted/chuckled, and my mother-in-law yelled, Sarah, what is wrong with you? I stopped what I was doing, swore at her, and called her a racist piece of crap, apologized to my mother-in-law for not being able to stay, and left for home with my wife. Apparently, this caused a massive fight after we left, with my mother-in-law, brother-in-law, other sister-in-law taking my side, and my father-in-law and Sarah saying it was a joke, but kind of true, and that I was being too sensitive. The extended family somehow got wind of this, and now everyone is arguing and taking sides, with my wife getting texts from some of her cousins apologizing for Sarah's behavior. Despite being on my side, my wife is begging me to apologize so that the fight will stop, but I refuse to because F Sarah and her blatant racism. Am I the a-hole? Too long didn't read. I'm a chef working at an upscale Chinese resto. My sister-in-law is a chef at an upscale French resto. She's critical of my cooking skills and has now called it making Kung Pao chicken at a Chinese restaurant. Family at war, wife begging me to apologize. What do I do? Edit. My wife has also informed me now Sarah may be in trouble at work and she's blaming me for it. Apparently one of her coworkers heard her rant about what happened and reported it to management. Edit. To clarify, Sarah is blaming me, though my wife is partly blaming me. Edit to update. So it looks like one of my wife's cousins found this post and put it on Sarah's Facebook wall going, "This is you, right?" Her Facebook friends are starting to comment with things like, "If this is you, Sarah, then I'm disappointed. I think Sarah's still at work. Crap might be hitting the fan soon. And now my wife is peed too. We'll try to update, but might have to delete post if things go nuclear." Edit 3, update 2. Was considering removing it, but I just got a voicemail from my father-in-law that my presence was only being tolerated up until this point and threatened a world of hurt if I didn't delete this post. Officially going to keep this post up, and if you're still reading this, Doug, I'm very disappointed in you. You're better than this. We'll also continue to update, and thanks again for all your support, folks. Edit 4, update 3. Lots of stuff just went down. My wife got a call from sister-in-law. From wife's phrasing, Sarah started screaming/crying at her the moment my wife picked up and said that she had just gotten demoted because of her Asian slur husband. Apparently, some of her coworkers have her on Facebook and showed the post to management, which, combined with her earlier rant, double whammied her back into being a line cook, and now she might get fired. My wife told her to go F herself and is now solidly on my side after taking the verbal abuse from Sarah and reading some of the comments here. My wife is still opposite of happy, though. Wife called mother-in-law and asked her what the F was going on with father-in-law. Mother-in-law was confused, so my wife played back the voicemail I had on my phone, and apparently my mother-in-law literally just walked away from the phone without hanging up and started screaming at father-in-law. Facebook post has now devolved into a cluster F flame war with family and friends jumping in. Suffice to say, it has officially gone nuclear. First things first, and I think most obviously, no, you are not the a-hole, and yes, Sarah and your father-in-law were being racist, especially near the end when she used a racist slur for Asian people, whatever it was. Like, yeah, she's in the wrong, and I know that your wife just didn't want fighting, and that's why she was like, just apologize, because no one wants to deal with fights. Oh, confrontation bad. But when the confrontation is rooted in like racism and stuff like that, I would have liked it more if your wife had had your back from the get-go and been like, no, this deserves to happen. Because even your mother-in-law and other sister-in-law and brother-in-law were on your side. So you know that you were in the right, and the father-in-law and Sarah were definitely in the wrong. It's just such gross behavior, and letting that stuff go and apologizing for it just so things stay peaceful, I hate that stuff. I hate that because it's just trying to sweep this under the rug, but then you still get to know that there's just this bed of racism under the rug that you're always going to be on. So, yeah, no, it sucks and it's messy, and I'm sure the family is in turmoil figuring stuff out, but good for you sticking to your guns, keeping the post up. Sarah deserves what she got. I'm sorry if she's ranting like that at work and then using slurs and all that stuff and getting called out for it and demoted. That's her fault. She brought this crap on herself, and she has just generally been kind of a crappy person from the sound of it. So hopefully it's a wake-up call for her and she can better herself. The end. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's ridiculous for divorcing her husband over a TikTok prank? My 24 male sister, 32 female, was married to a man, 35 male, for 3 years until they separated 2 months ago over a TikTok prank she pulled. Although none of our family cares about social media, I've always thought of her husband as a nice, funny man. It's great to be in his company, and I therefore think the divorce is ridiculous over something that was no more than a mistake. To give an account of what happened, my brother-in-law, who is involved in TikTok, pulled a prank on my sister's son, 15 male. The prank culminated in my nephew falling over and banging his head, which is why she separated from him. He had to be rushed to hospital where he underwent treatment, and now he has brain damage. He now needs help eating due to impaired motor control, has limited speech. If you ask him something, he'll stare at you until my sister gets on her knees to ask him calmly what he needs. It's easily irritable, and when I look at him, all I can see is his 7-year-old self masquerading in a 15-year-old's body. Now, these symptoms are likely permanent and are, of course, awful, but it was a mistake on behalf of the husband. I believe that divorce is way too harsh for a mistake, and instead they should have negotiated boundaries and disallowed TikTok in the house or something. Her husband was the only one who used it. I've tried to keep my dislike of the divorce decisions to myself because I'm secretly mourning the loss of my brother-in-law. We watched football together and everything. However, when discussing the incident with her yesterday, I told her that she was ridiculous for divorcing her husband over something that was essentially a mistake, and that she should reconsider her options considering the first one was emotionally driven. My sister told me that I was free to marry him, and my mother also interjected and, despite liking my brother-in-law before, told me that I had no say in my sister's life and told me that my precious brother-in-law ruined my nephew's life with his incompetence. I yelled at them and told them that society's inability to forgive mistakes is the reason why we're in this mess, and they eventually kicked me out when the argument ensued for 10 minutes longer. I thought I was being reasonable, however my girlfriend is also on their side. Am I the a-hole? Since we started doing these videos, I don't think that I've really been able to say this that often, but I kind of think you might be the a-hole here. Seriously. No, I know it was a mistake, it was a prank, but it is a mistake that has had lifelong repercussions. This is something the sister has to live with. She has to look at her child, which I'm guessing by your description it is her child and not the husband's. But her child now has brain damage. This is something she has to live with and look at every day, and she has to recognize that it was because of this husband's TikTok prank that, he was not careful about. Like, it would be one thing if they got into like a car crash that was out of his control or something, like he had been driving, but someone collided with them and the kid got brain damage. That's one thing. That's completely out of his control, but he pulled a prank, and a lot of times these TikTok pranks aren't great. I don't like most internet pranks. Like, this is something that he initiated and was reckless about, and now she's always going to remember that he did this to her son. And also, you don't know what else might have been going on in the relationship. This may have been a tipping point, and frankly, it's none of your business. Like, if she genuinely feels like, no, I can't be around this person anymore, that's her choice. That's her right. And so for you to like argue with her and tell her she's being ridiculous when now her child has brain damage and stuff, no, I think you need to just be quiet. As ridiculous as you may think it is, it's not your place to say. So I know that forgiveness is great, and maybe in some way she does forgive him, but parents with their children, it is a sort of like, there is a connection there that a lot of people don't get. There are a lot of families that when they lose a child, unrelated to like anything the parents have done, that the parents can't cope with it and end up separating because it hurts too much. So just know, if you're not a parent and you're not experiencing that, I don't think you necessarily have a right to say. Like, you can have your opinion, and maybe you're even right. Maybe he should be forgiven, but she's allowed to have her emotions and her feelings about it. So, yeah, no, I'm sorry. You need to shut your mouth. Am I the a-hole for going off on my husband and his mom for taking/keeping my used pregnancy test? I, 27 female, found out I was pregnant very recently. My husband, male 34, and his family are beyond happy and excited. From what I've heard, my husband was married 2 times before, but couldn't have kids for 10 years. This is a huge deal for his family because his mom will be a first-time grandma with this baby. They threw a celebration dinner for us, and his mom and I were talking about the baby. She told me about how she already started making memories and started having keepsakes of her grandbaby. I felt a bit confused and asked if my husband bought something for the baby and gave it to her. She said no, but he did bring her my used pregnancy test and gave it to her to store as a memory of the news of her grandbaby's existence. I was floored. I looked at my husband like, "Did you do that?" And he nodded while smiling. Not gonna lie, I felt creeped out, disgusted, and very uncomfortable. After the initial shock, I just went off on both of them, calling what they did creepy and disgusting and highly violating. My husband argued that it was not a huge deal. He just grabbed the test once I got rid of it, put it in a plastic bag, and gifted it to his mom as a keepsake. I told him it made me feel violated and creeped out because that test had my literal pee on it. His mom then said something about taking care of the smell, and I lashed out even more and demanded they get rid of it, but they kept arguing, calling me controlling. Brother-in-law asked me to calm down, but I decided to just grab stuff and go home. My husband started arguing about how this was all just an overreaction and said that I ruined his and his family's joy by how I behaved after finding out about the pregnancy test. He said for him and his mom, it's all about the baby, but I somehow made this whole thing about me and hurt their feelings in the process. But that was my literal P on that test, and I just couldn't help but flip out even if it ruined their joy for the news. Did I overreact? I don't know. I personally wouldn't think that it's that disgusting and creepy. I would think it's maybe a little bit weird because I'd be like, but that's a thing that they peed on. But at the same time, it is this indicator of good news, like a pregnancy test, a positive pregnancy test. It's a big deal. It's this exciting thing. It is like the beginning of a journey in some ways for people. And I guess I could understand some people wanting to hang on to it. I don't think I ever would. But I don't know. I also don't want kids, so my opinion might not mean that much in this situation. But I don't know. I can kind of see both sides. I think really what it comes down to is the husband should have asked, because you threw it in the garbage and he should have gone to you and been like, you know, that's really meaningful to me, and, you know, that we could scrapbook it or something, and then you might have been able to go, I'm not comfortable with that, it has my P on it, and maybe you could have come to an understanding. So I don't know that necessarily. I don't think what you did was an overreaction because he didn't ask first, but then again, maybe in his mind it wasn't a big deal at all, you know? It's a little bit of P. What's some P between family, huh? So I don't know. I think people just need to communicate more. My boyfriend, 29 male, didn't find a problem being friends with cheaters. My military boyfriend told me that his colleagues are paying for escorts. Highly possible that the girls are underage as they're in Southeast Asia while they were overseas, and it's a men thing / bro code and military thing to be supportive or like be cool with that. I'm appalled by his reasoning that what happens overseas stays overseas, and he would joke about it. To me, it's nothing funny. He said that maybe they're not getting enough time at home, that's why they did what they did, so we shouldn't judge, though he did say that it's effed up, but he still will be close to them as they are genuine and nice people. Some of them even have children, and some of their wives are pregnant. One guy proposed to his girlfriend after visiting the brothels, and it's not the first time, and he told me that he'll attend their wedding, because that's their relationship and not for him to judge. I cannot help but feel disgusted by him being so chill about it. He said that he didn't cheat and would never do it even if he's single, but he did get curious and stepped into the brothel to look. I'll never know if he did or not, but I don't think I'll be trusting him as he's cool with whatever those scummy men did and still thinks that they are good people. I don't know any of the wives, so there's nothing I can do, and it pees me off. Yeah, I honestly think that there are kind of lines, and I don't know how hard set they are, but like, you can be friends with someone and find out like, oh, what, you do this thing? I don't agree with that, but I don't know. I guess, you know, I can't judge too harshly, but I feel like once you get into like cheaters and cheating and stuff like that, like, it just kind of shows you how untrustworthy a person is. Like, if I had a friend and I found out that they were just regularly cheating on a spouse or just, you know, okay with cheating and stuff, it's like, God, what are they lying to me about? Like, how do I trust this person, you know? I don't know. Just don't cheat, people. It's not that, oh, they've been away from home for so long, the poor guys, their wieners are going to fall off. Like, no, just oh my God, I can't deal with this stuff. So yeah, no, I think I'm with the poster here where I would think a bit less of someone if that was their attitude towards this stuff. You know, it's like, oh, my friends are doing it, but it's not for me to judge. I mean, yeah, it kind of is. Like, if they get married, are you just going to be like, I don't care at all about the person that they're marrying, because if I did, I might inform them of infidelity. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Folks, let me know in the comments what you think, but it rubs me the wrong way. Today, I effed up by sneaking into my boyfriend's house. Probably had the most embarrassing and pathetic moment of my life so far yesterday, but after giving it a day, it's a bit funny, so enjoy my misery. Me and my boyfriend, both 16, have been dating for a couple months. The problem is that his parents are super strict, so he hasn't told them about us dating as they wouldn't approve of it. Regardless, we've still been hanging out together a lot in public and such, but yesterday his parents were gone for a while, so we decided we could go to his house without them knowing. So we were there for hours until eventually his parents came home at around 5 p.m. and we kind of panicked, but instead of trying to sneak out while they were here, I was going to sneak out later when they went to sleep. So a few hours pass and they still don't know I'm there, but then I get a strong urge to pee. The problem was that the bathroom was downstairs, meaning I would 100% get seen if I went there. So I just held it until about an hour later when I couldn't hold it anymore. I told my boyfriend and we tried to figure out how I could pee, but no good opportunity came and I'm nearly in tears as I'm about to pee myself. Then my boyfriend told me I could just pee in a bottle in the room. I tried to explain that wouldn't work, but there wasn't any choice. So in probably the most embarrassing moment of my life, I sat there trying to pee in a bottle while crying next to my boyfriend tried to help me tell me it was okay. After finishing, the next few hours were filled with embarrassment and shame until eventually I got the opportunity to leave. He texted me the next morning, but I still haven't replied because I just have no idea what to say after that. I mean, what are you supposed to say after something like that? Too long didn't read, went to my boyfriend's house when they were out. They came back and I had to wait before I could leave and had to pee in a bottle. Oh, you sweet summer child. If that's going to be the most embarrassing thing that ever happens in your life, count yourself lucky. Oh, what a little thing that is in the grand scheme of embarrassments you're going to face in life. Oh, how you are going to do stuff that will gnaw at you every night before you go to sleep for years. Cherish peeing in a bottle next to your boyfriend. I mean, honestly, not to diminish how this person felt. Their feelings are absolutely valid. But I gotta tell you, I've known plenty of people in their lives. I've known myself in my life where something like that would not even register to them or even me as embarrassing. It would just be like, oh, can't believe I had to do that. It was kind of gross. Got pee on my hands. But, like, you know, I mean, unless you're, it's a pregnancy test, then we're very unhappy. That's different. That is definitely different. But no, there's so many worse things to worry about in life. Don't sweat it. You're gonna pee in a lot of things. Am I the a-hole for interfering in the bouquet toss at my girlfriend's sister's wedding? My girlfriend, we'll call her Maggie, and I went to her sister's wedding on Sunday, the 22nd of January. It was a great event, and things were going well for most of the evening. This was the first time I met Maggie's mother, but I had already met the rest of her family. When it came time for the bouquet toss, Maggie was one of the ladies in the group to try and catch it. I thought I had an opportunity to be funny and lift the mood. So I stood behind Maggie and slapped the flowers to the ground before she could catch them. I don't know if she actually would have been the one to catch them, but I did it anyway. I was doing it as a joke, which I thought would be obvious to everyone. I was like 0.0001% serious. I'm not that interested in marriage. I'm in my 20s. I had no bad intentions and wasn't trying to upset anyone. I thought I would get a chuckle from the crowd. After I slapped the bouquet to the floor, there was an audible gasp from everyone around, followed by an awkward silence. I was a little embarrassed, but I laughed anyway to try to non-verbally show everyone that it was a joke. Nobody laughed. After a bit, the moment had passed and everyone was starting a big dinner. Nobody talked to me, and I was getting a couple of sideways glances. Maggie's mother eventually pulled me aside and, very respectfully, asked me to leave. To which I obliged. I didn't want to cause a scene. A few weeks later, my girlfriend and her sister are over it, but the mom still seems weird about it. I haven't spoken to her since. Was this an a-hole move, or was it just a lighthearted joke that was misinterpreted? Back when I used to do stand-up comedy over a decade ago, I once had a comedian tell me while we were talking, he said, if nobody laughs at your joke, it wasn't a good joke. It's that simple. It's a good joke is about reading the room. Is it the kind of crowd that's going to like that stuff? Or do they enjoy this rare tradition that comes up only every so often? And as silly as it might be kind of important to them because it's all part of this special moment. Maybe a moment they want pictures of so they can see, and they want to see who catches it. Oh, how fun. And I'm guessing this was maybe that kind of crowd and not the goofy, fun, let's be wacky wedding crowd. And, you don't, like, your joke to, like, lighten the mood and everything, it's a wedding. The mood doesn't always need lightening unless things are weirdly tense. And even then, goofing up a part of the, whole, like, tradition might not be the way to break that tension. I don't know. Like, it's all very complicated. I'm sure you had good intentions. And I think I've even seen things where, like, people have, like, slapped the bouquet away from their significant other. Too much laughing, but you gotta know the room and you gotta be able to read it. And you clearly did neither. So it kind of sucks. And yeah, when you do something like that, and with, this may be that sister's only wedding, you may be a little bit of an a-hole for that, but I don't hold it against you. Boyfriend, 24 male, keeps leaving skid marks on sheets. My boyfriend, 24 male, and I, 27, have been dating for about 9 months now. We started being intimately active about 6 months ago, which is why I'm confused as to why this is happening. It all started about 4 weeks ago. He took a shower and was about to leave my place, but asked me to give him head first. I put a towel under him first to not mess up the bed. He finished, and once he stood up, I realized that there were poop smudges on the towel. This grossed me out and confused me since he had just taken a shower, but I didn't tell him about it, just washed the towel afterward. Then he came over about 1.5 weeks ago, and there were tiny smudges on another towel, but I thought it was me since I was about to start my period. But then last night he came over. He told me he didn't shower before coming over, though he was outside at work all day. After intercourse, I went to use the bathroom, and when I came back to bed, he pointed out that there were a bunch of brown stains/brown dots all over the sheets. He thought it was from me and asked if I was in pain or if he hurt me. I said no, I just wiped and didn't see any blood, plus the stains were in spots I never was in. He got quiet and went to take a shower, and I changed the sheets. For the rest of the night, he was acting a bit strange, so I think he was embarrassed. I tried to act lighthearted and didn't bring up the issue again, but I think I should talk to him about it since this is the 3rd time it's happened. Could it be a health issue? Okay. Realistically, yes, it could potentially be a health issue. It might be worth broaching the subject if it ever comes up again, because as uncomfortable as it can be, you care about this person's health. However, I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying that this is that boyfriend doing it, but some guys out there, well, people in general, I'm sure there are ladies, non-binaries as well, but some of you folks out there, when you take a shower, you need to learn to wash your butt. And I think I've said this before on this channel, but I'll say it again because people ain't getting the message. You don't just polish the globes. You get in there a little bit. Now, you're not penetrating yourself or something, but you wash up in there for the love of... I have been around people in work situations where you could tell that they didn't properly clean their butt when they showered. And, oh, but I wipe it with toilet paper. Stop it. If you got poop on your hand, would you just wipe it with a paper towel and be like, all clean? No, you'd wash it with soap and water, just like you should do with your butt. Wash it. Just stop it. What, are you afraid that if you touch your butthole, it's gonna make you gay? Straight guys can like that too, It's fine. Hey, maybe you want her to peg you. I don't know. We're getting way off topic, but clean your butt. Story 1. My influencer mom made us wear no photos hoodie. I'm a teenager, and my mom is kind of famous on Instagram and blogging. She had a mommy blog all when I was growing up, and of course me and my sister were always involved. It sucks because there's so much out there about us, and it's what's gonna come up when I'm looking for a job, when I'm dating, when anyone looks up my name. I found a website that will print custom jackets, print all over the front and back and arms, and I ordered some hoodies that say a bunch of phrases all over them. No photos, no videos, I do not consent to be photographed, no means no, respect my privacy, no cameras, no profiting off my image. It sounds silly, but it looks pretty sick actually. I got one for me and one for my 9-year-old sister who's started to not always want photos. And I guess the idea is that my mom can't take good-looking pictures, even candid ones with us in the hoodies, without them having a pretty strong message that we don't want to be in pictures. My mom was mad when they showed up and really mad when I'm wearing mine. Like she says, she just wants pictures to remember my young years by. She won't post ones without asking. But I know that's a whole mess anyways. She always says that and then negotiates me into letting her post, like either by saying that's how she makes income, so if I want money for something, to stop arguing about pictures, or posting without asking and then saying, I thought it would be okay because your face wasn't visible / you're just in the background, etc. And I'm always like, no, you don't think. If you thought at all, you'd remember what I said I want. No new pictures of me or mentions of me online. Remove all pictures that include me that you've ever posted and delete any writing that mentions me. I am just so fed up and upset that my mom is mad at me for wearing my new hoodie every day. She's mad I won't take it off for any event and think it's inappropriate to wear certain things. I know it's really weird looking, but it feels like my only option. To add a couple more things, she also says all the mentions of consent and no means no and this body is my own, sorry I forgot to mention that one earlier, imply something more inappropriate and that it is really inappropriate to wear those words out in public. We've also fought about me wearing it to family events and school events with a generally dressier dress code because it looks like a gangster hoodie. I don't know what to say to that, but I don't agree. Am I the a-hole for always wearing my no photo hoodie? You're not the a-hole. At all. Your mom is the a-hole for not respecting that. I mean, in general, I have a problem with parents who choose to sort of commodify their children in this way. Like, I know it's like, oh, these are my kids and I can choose how to raise them. But when your kids become an integral part of how you make money, it doesn't feel right to me. I mean, because in actual, like, acting and film and stuff, like SAG-AFTRA and stuff, like, there are a bunch of things worked into that to protect kids. And even still, a lot of kids who go through acting end up a little bit messed up. It's not a great system. So with stuff like Instagram, there's none of that stuff in place. Parents are just using their kids as a means to make money. And I think it can be hard for a parent to, like, draw a line. Like, I don't know. So that's a whole different thing. But the fact that you are old enough to express that you don't want to be a part of this and she's still trying to, like, convince you or just not listening to you is gross. A parent needs to respect their kid. I don't care if you're not 18. You still have a right to autonomy in your body and stuff. And for her to also be like, oh, well, that's a bad thing to wear in public because it could, imply something more inappropriate. Do you not want your kids to, like, have that message? Like, that's a good message, even referring to stuff beyond the photos and everything. Like, it's still, it's not a comfortable message to hear, but it's important. So, I don't know. No matter how you paint this, Mom, stop it. And person who's posting this, keep on wearing that hoodie. Heck, make a whole fashion line about it. Make your own money. Don't give your mom any. Story 2. My ex-husband who cheated on me with my sister emailed me after 6 years. Oh. My ex-husband who cheated on me with my sister emailed me after 6 years. I, 33 female, met my ex-husband Dan, 50 female, almost 15 years ago at a restaurant when I was celebrating my 18th birthday. He was really nice, charming, and mature. He made me feel loved and special. For some context, I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My mom and dad used to always fight. My dad would sometimes go out and not come back for months. He died when my sister Abby, 25 female, was born. My mom was way too fond of Abby since her birth rather than me. Abby was basically babied by my mother. She didn't neglect me at all, always did her best as a mother and provided for me, but I always felt sometimes missing. After Dan came to my life, I didn't feel like there was something missing from me. He supported me, he was caring, he would always buy me gifts and take me out on long drives. I felt complete when I was with him. We got married after dating for 4 years. I wanted to start a family right away, but Dan encouraged me to do my master's and helped me build my career. He wanted us to be in a stable position financially before we started thinking about having kids. Seriously, he was the best guy I could even ask for. After 5 years of being happily married, I discovered that my husband was cheating on me with Abby. I discovered the affair when my husband made an excuse that he'll go out of town for a week, but he stayed in town and he booked a hotel room where he and Abby can have intercourse. This has been going on for 6 months behind my back. I was really devastated. Abby and I were close growing up. I loved her and cared for her. How could she do this to me? After D-Day, Dan and I had a fight. I asked how he could do this to me, that too with my sister who just turned 19. He said he didn't love me anymore, that I didn't give him enough attention, that I'm not the same girl he fell in love with. Between this mess, I discovered that I was pregnant, but due to the stress, I lost the baby. He didn't even care enough to visit me at the hospital when I lost our child. He was having a weekend getaway with my sister. I should have seen the signs. Abby would always be touchy with Dan. Dan would sometimes stare at her, but it is still very disturbing to me. My mother, as usual, took Abby's side and told me to just make peace with it. I wanted to kill myself because I had no one left, lost my child and my husband, my whole family. Then my best friend Tina, my savior, came to my rescue. She was moving to another state and asked me to come with her. I said yes. I was already divorced at that point, and we lived in a small town, so I would obviously run into my ex and my sister. It took me a while to settle into my new life in a different state, but I met some kind people there. It helped me heal some trauma. I still have trust issues. I met my now husband, Tony, 32 male, after 1 year of moving to the new place. I was really hesitant and kept my guard up, but he showed me that he is trustworthy and loves me a lot. I was so happy with him that I almost forgot about the life I had back in my hometown. His parents were really welcoming and generous people. We got married a year ago. I'm now pregnant with our first child. Yesterday, I got an email from my ex, Dan. It just brought back all the bad memories. I'm just paraphrasing his email. He mentioned that he misses me. He tried to find me but couldn't. He's very miserable with my sister. She's very dumb and doesn't care about him like I do. I used to bake him a cake and throw birthdays for him, but Abby only texted him happy birthday and didn't even bother to buy him a cake. Plus, she's very rude. She doesn't respect him. She's always at the bar with her friends. He also mentions that she has cheated on him 5 times already. The last affair was with his cousin. Our mother also doesn't stop her. He will soon file for a divorce, but lately he's been missing me a lot. He wants us to try again as a couple. He wants us to become a family just like before. Since I do not have social media except for Instagram, which is private, he probably doesn't know that I am married and I have a baby on the way. I don't know if I should feel pity for him or just laugh because the grass on his side is very brown rather than green. Just laugh. Just laugh and forget about him. He is not worth your time. This person cheated on you for 6 months and said that he doesn't love you anymore. To cheat on someone for 6 months and to not think that you love them, like, if he doesn't love you anymore, he should have talked to you before ever cheating and gotten separated. And if he made the mistake of cheating and realized it was because he doesn't love you, then he should also talk to you right away and break things off. But he cheated for a long time. That's not a good thing. I know he did other good things and people can put on a front like that, but he screwed up. You don't owe him anything. He was a jerk. And the fact that he is only now reaching out after 6 years when the person that he left you for is now not as good as he thought. I mean, too bad for him. If he really truly cared about you as a person, he would have tried to contact you earlier and been like, I feel just miserable. Anything. But no, he doesn't care. He misses the comfort he had with you. He misses, the consistency and, just everything you provided for him. But he doesn't miss you and in the way that, no, just no. Screw him. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.